It was a study yesterday that was released that kind of had a lot of us going, what? Really? It showed firearms injure a child or youth almost every day in Ontario. The study was conducted through the Toronto Hospital for Sick Kids and published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. Here are the findings in a nutshell. It says there were 355 firearm injuries on average each year among children and youth, with about 20 to 25 or 7% resulting in death. The authors of the report say they were shocked with what they found, and I think many who read it were also surprised. Well, so was the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, which published a rebuttal for its own members, saying the study will leave everyone confused. Tracey Wilson is chair of the CCFR, the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, and she's on the line with me now. Tracey Wilson, good afternoon.
Hi, CarolAnne. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Now, Tracey, your organization is only a couple of years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, CarolAnne. So the CCFR was born just under 2 years ago. We noticed that there was, a little void in the firearms activism community for, a media-savvy public relations type arms. So, that's kind of what we're doing. And we have a mandate of advocacy through education. So that's this topic falls right in line with what we're all about. So educating the public.
Educating them about who's got firearms. You're not advocating for more firearms, are you?
No, there's already 2.2 million licensed law-abiding gun owners in Canada. There's an average, we estimate, between 14 and 21 million guns in Canada currently. So, it's not, we're not, trying to make this into something it's not. Guns are already here. The problem with this study is, they've sold it as we've got our kids out there playing with guns, and that's not the truth.
Okay, so let's take you. So what concerns you enough about the headlines that you saw yesterday that you had to put out your own release?
Well, CarolAnne, I'm glad you asked that. So what we did is we sort of read the study itself. We drilled down the study and the information included in it. Doesn't align at all with the headlines that have been coming out. You can easily see from the charts and the information in the study that the majority of these, I guess you could call them victims, are adults between the ages of 20 to 24. They come from, they've got socioeconomic issues, mostly from urban centers. They've got a lack of opportunity. I think it's pretty clear what the problem is.
What is that?
I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, and from reading through this, I've got kids in these age groups that they put, and I would say that we've got a gang problem. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. The other flaw in the study is it doesn't narrow it down as to, what kind of injuries we're talking about here. So there's ICD codes, which are the disease codes you use to identify different injuries. So these could be literally something as simple as Nerf guns, pellet guns, air guns, paintball. If Joey shoots his 6-year-old brother with a Nerf gun and, it hits him in the eye and they go in just to make sure everything's fine and get it checked out, they've included that in the term shooting. So I think they've taken such a huge, broad scope and come up with a conclusion that in itself, it's not exactly correct. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's fake news. It's just sort of the presentation of the facts is a little bit twisted on this, obviously to suit an agenda. So.
Well, but they did take into account some very serious firearm injuries. There was actually statistics from assault-related firearms. It accounted for 25% of the injuries. I mean, those are fairly serious. Are you saying that's lumped into the whole thing with Nerf guns and pellet guns?
Again, CarolAnne, there's nothing that defines in the study that they're defining as firearms. So they're including air guns, paintball guns. It includes everything. The scope is huge, and that's what we're saying. I mean, if you narrow it down and knock away even things like police intervention, if you've got gang members and they're shot by a police officer, it's included in here. Like, the scope is massive. So to put this out there and say a kid a day in Ontario is getting shot, first of all, I think that in itself would have been a headline a long time ago. I live here. I've got a teenager. Mm-hmm. It does concern me. We're a law and order group. We want to safer Canada. I think there's some valid data in here that we can work with. right in the study, under the study population title, that says we've included all children and youth aged to 24 years. And this is put out by the Pediatric Society. I don't know 24-year-olds that are going to the pediatrician. You know, it's just a little bit. It's obviously engineered and geared, you know, to suit an agenda, and that's the problem with it.
Well, tell me about what is your fear? How would you think that this kind of study could be used in public policy?
Well, I mean, to put out a shocking piece like this that has, you know, it's got the whole country and even outside the country talking, I think right in the study she mentions, you know, access to firearms, that we've got firearms in our homes, that, you know, pediatricians should be responsible for advising people on safe storage. First of all of that already exists. We've already got safe storage under the Firearms Act. You know, all that stuff already exists. It's already there. People already know it. The actual rates of a child, and I'm talking, you know, the CTV news piece last night showed pictures of preschool children with guns. That's not what this study is about. The study is the majority of it is 15 and up. You know, that's a completely different issue. I think when they start having doctors talk to us about a private property owned in our own private homes, I think that's a little bit stepping over the line. And I think what the angle here is to increase legislation. We've already got a safe country. You know, there's 140. We average about 140 deaths a year related to firearms, like homicides. So we've got to look at the actual numbers and not take such a broad, sweeping scope, you know, and then come out with a conclusion.
You're afraid your members, in some way, these 2.2 million licensed lawful gun owners, are going to be impacted by a study like this?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what it's for, right?
But if it results in with somebody, you know, whose lives being saved, would that not be worth it? So if some changes were to come from it?
100%, CarolAnne. I'm glad that you touched in on that. You'll notice in the Liberals' gun platform that they had promised $100 million to the provinces and territories to work on the guns and gangs units across the country. That has been removed from the new budget. So absolutely, I like I said, I'm a mom and a grandma, and I want to Safer Canada, and I want them to do some actual work that has an effect on public safety. You know, that's what we should be targeting, and that's what the effect of this study, the result of this study, should show, that that's exactly where that money should go. It should go back to working on crime. So,
Tracey, what does your organization do now?
Well, now we're just, you know, I've got a couple of media interviews lined up. We're just going to, you know, we've got our facts in order. The numbers speak for themselves. The study itself, if you go past the actual news articles and read the study and the link, you know, realistically, it tells us exactly that we've got a problem with, you know, men in urban areas, age 20 to 24, under socioeconomic issues, you know, and I think that's the angle I'd like to take it.
Okay.
I'd like to see some work on actual crime.
Tracey, I appreciate you telling us your side of it and telling us about the Canadian Coalition of Firearms Rights. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, CarolAnne. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. That was Tracey Wilson. She is the board chair of the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.